you might seriously regret buying a home this year in 2024. So imagine committing to the biggest investment of your life only to realize it might drain your finances more than ever before. With an unpredictable housing market, you've got climbing interest rates, and there's looming changes from the NAR settlement. 2024 presents unique challenges that could turn your home buying dream into a financial nightmare. Now, this isn't just about market fluctuations, guys. We're talking about potentially overpaying in a fiercely competitive market, dealing with bidding wars, while you might pay six figures over asking price without any safeguards, such as an appraisal contingency or a home inspection contingency. So what if you end up owing more money than your home is worth? So in today's video, I'm going to dive deep into why buying a home this year could be a risky move. Although real estate is one of the best investments for the long term, right now you might want to think twice about buying a home in the current economic climate and everything that's going on in the industry and in this country. We will explore critical implications of the recent real estate regulations, high mortgage rates, and ongoing inventory shortage. And by the end, you're going to understand the real stakes of entering the 2024 market and why you might regret buying a home. Let's get started. Now first, the real estate industry is going through a mess. I'm not sure if you heard about the settlement with the National Association of Realtors, NAR. Now, if you turned off the news in the last month, like many of us have, I know I have, you may not know about what happened. Although we don't know how this is all going to play out. The settlement is stating that homeowners who hire a real estate agent to sell their home, now they're not going to have to pay the buyer's real estate agent anymore. They've been doing this now since the 1920s. So the buyers are going to have to sign a buyer contract with the real estate agent. Now, I've been doing that for years, but the agreement what's going to happen is set the fee for you, the buyer, to pay your buyer agent if that home seller is not willing to pay the compensation to your agent. So the federal courts have this case right now, and in July it's supposed to go into effect. Nobody really knows what's going on, but it's supposed to go into effect in July. That's only a couple months from now. So for me, if I wouldn't have to buy right now, I think I'd wait this one out and see how this whole thing's going to work itself out. We don't know what the federal courts are going to come back with. If they're going to change things to say that the buyer agents are only allowed to charge a certain amount to their clients, which I doubt because commissions are supposed to be negotiable. How are you going to set yourself apart from the professional to someone who's just fly-by-night realtor? Therefore, you might want to buy now before July, as there could be a lot of changes and you might have to pay more money to your agent. And if you wait it out, though, we'll know exactly what the stipulations are and what's going to be required. So an example would be there may be a certain percentage agents are only allowed to charge, such as 2%, or maybe it's a flat fee or whatever fee. I just can't see it being regulated, and I would never have thought our country would be in danger of being forced into a dictatorship like what's happening right now. So my advice is when the time comes and you sign a buyer-broker agreement with your agent, find out exactly what they're doing for you. For example, if the fee is $2,000, $6,000, whatever it is, what are you getting for that money? Are they just going to open the door for you and maybe write a contract and then you are going to be on your own for the rest of it? And you'll have to negotiate all the terms and price and inspections, etc. with the seller? Now, you definitely don't want that, but you might. So maybe you can arrange a different fee for service, what they're going to be doing. Or are they going to charge more and be more of a full service agent, which you really, I think, want, that's up to you, and be your guide by your side throughout the entire home buying experience? I don't know. So find out exactly what they're doing for you, because you get what you pay for in real estate. And if you're going to pay a cheaper fee, you have to expect to not get the service that you need when you're going to be buying a home, right? Now, if you're on YouTube or searching this topic online, you may be hearing journalists saying, oh, come July, the sellers are not going to be able to pay the buyer fee anymore. Well, that's not true. There's so much fake news going on about this topic, makes me nauseous. Yes, sellers will still be able to have that option if they want to help and help that buyer out and pay for their buyer agent. It's still possible. That will be negotiable. So let's say the seller decides to pay, just say 1% of the buyer agent fee in your agreement with your buyer agent says you're going to pay them 2%. Then you're only going to owe your buyer agent the 1%. Now, there's going to be a ways around this, but they're not going to know anything until July or maybe even later. This could take to the end of the year. No one really knows what's going on. There's so many different stories out there. It's absolutely crazy. So before, you might want to wait till all this thing shakes out before you really know what's going to be happening, how it's going to impact you as a buyer. Now, I'm saying this to all you home buyers out there, and I can't stress this enough. You're going to need to put money aside to pay for your agent so you don't have to buy this year. Then wait to see how this is all going to play out. Because not only are you saving for your down payment and your closing costs, you're going to have to potentially save to pay for your agent. So hold out if you can. Now, this fee can be rolled into your mortgage. So if the fee is, for example, 6%, then you would pay approximately $48 more a month on your loan. For example, if the rate was around 8%. So you could put it into your mortgage. So that can happen if this is what's happening down the road. Next, really important, is the lack of inventory. Now, I've been saying this for a while. This has been driving prices up. This is not new. The inventory level has been dropping way before COVID hit. This is not new. It's been slowly dropping over the years. This inventory shortage did not happen overnight, and it's not going to fix itself overnight. I would mention this and show graphs at my next seminars. Back in 2016-17, I was doing seminars, and I would mention this, and I would show them that the shortage of inventory. So you have to be up for this competition. I just sold this home in White Marsh, over $80,000 over asking price, and I have tons more stories like this. So if you want to get into this market, it's extremely challenging. Okay, here, especially in Philly and the burbs, I'm sure everywhere, homes are selling for $50, $100, in some areas, $200 over asking price. It is out of control, and there's nothing for sale. The bidding wars are not only having buyers overpay for homes, they're waiving their appraisal. So not only do you have to need the money to overbid on a home, you need to get the funds to cover this appraisal gap. For example, here's an appraisal gap. If the home appraises at a much lower level than what the purchase price is, you have to come up with the difference, or what they call the gap. And home sellers have gotten very savvy these days. They want to know that if you're going to cover the gap, and if you're not waiving appraisals, they won't even look at your offer. So that's what's going on here in Philly and the burbs market. How's it going on in your area? Let me know how it's going. So, if you're in a different part of the country, I'd really love to know. Now, one more thing. The people are back to waiving home inspection. Oy, I thought we were past all that. But we're back to waiving inspection. This is a huge risk. I don't recommend it to my clients. That's why I have my sellers do a pre-home inspection. So the buyer who's buying their home doesn't feel like they're buying a money pit. So if you're going to be buying and you're in a situation where you're in a bidding war, you have to waive the appraisal. And then you're overbidding and you're waiving inspections. And then you might regret it. So you might have to think twice about buying home. And now, right now, you may be kicking yourself, especially if you waived those inspections and, you walked into your house after closing and things all started going wrong. If I ever show that movie from Tom Hanks' movie, The Money Pit, it could happen. So you can save a lot of money by spending $600 on an inspection. However, you might not even get the home to inspect. They won't even take your offer. So if you're not handy and you don't have any money left over when you move in, you don't want to waive the inspections. I don't recommend it. However, with that all said, the good news is in the 4 years since this waiving the inspection nonsense started, not any of our buyers have had problems with their homes. Thank the Lord. Now why? I think it's because we're one of those full service agents. We tell our clients whether we would buy that home or not. We would personally buy it. Tell them, hey, don't buy that home. And they usually follow our advice, which is great because that's why we're here. Lastly, let's talk about interest rates. Ding, ding, ding. Everyone was so excited as in the beginning of this year, all the news and major banks were saying that the feds were going to reduce the federal interest rate. They were saying they're going to bring rates back down as they had raised them up over the last 2 years because of inflation. Now, with all the government spending on all kinds of things, and on people who are not even American citizens, don't get me started, now we're in this problem. And now the last time the feds met a few weeks ago, they just put a pause on that because of all this. They didn't drop the interest rates because inflation was 3.2. And right now it's out of control. Inflation just in 1 month is 3.5%, just 1 month later. So here we are. Interest rates went back up again. And the 30-year fixed mortgage rates are like 7.75 today. I was talking to Krista Larry, my lender partner, and she was telling me to expect to possibly see rates over 8% over the next couple of months into the summer. And we haven't seen 8% since last October. So you homeowners out there who bought homes in the 80s and you paid 18% interest rate and you're still saying, hey, that's a bargain. I get that. However, we're at a totally different time right now. We're kind of been spoiled. We've had low interest rates for years. I refinanced my home 10 years ago when my mortgage interest rate was like 3.75%. People have had rates lower than 4% for a long time, and now it's almost doubled. It's very challenging if you have to buy a home this year and that rates are, say, hit 8%. Though you can buy points to reduce the rate. A lot of people do that. It does get a little costly, but if you're in a situation where you have to get into a house, that may be something you would want to look into. Now, the other thing you consider is refinancing when the rates come down, if they do. However, make sure there are no restrictions on how soon you can refinance. I know Krista, she has a program that you can refinance up to 1 year after the purchase price and not pay all the fees. So do your homework on that one. Now, I don't think these rates are going to go down by much by the end of the year. They say they will remain above 6% when you read articles in Forbes, Wall Street Journal. Now, many experts in the beginning of the year were predicting for this year that rates would be in the sixes, which could still possibly happen. But the rate we're going right now, I don't know if they're going to come back down. And as we know, as soon as the rates go into the fives, people are going to start moving and open up the inventory. I mean, even Barbara Corcoran said that at the beginning of the year, and I believe that. But even with the higher interest rates, buyers are still overbidding on these homes. So the prices are going up, and I don't think the Fed really thought that was going to happen. Nobody thought that would happen. One analyst said that the Fed's fear that if they reduce the rates too much, it's going to bring back a flurry of buyers. Well, we already have that. We already have a flurry of buyers. I don't know what they're talking about. And it's going to jack the home prices up even more than they are now. Don't they read the news? I don't think they're really... I mean, even with these high rates, people are still overbidding. And it's their fault that inventory is so low. Why is it their fault? Well, the empty nesters, they're afraid to move. They have nowhere to go. And those are the homes that we need to see going on the market. So the move-up buyers can move to her home, and the first-time buyers can move up to the mover buyers, and that will free up the inventory. The government right now is so out of touch with the people. They don't understand what's going on in people's lives. So you can maybe agree with why they're putting that pause on there, but it's not really working. It's just been very disappointing for a lot of people because in the beginning of the year, there was this expectation that rates were going to come back down, and now it's not happening. So be prepared. It could be go to 8% in the next month or so. Another reason you would regret buying a home, you might want to think twice before buying right now. Now, not only the risk of overpaying, as you know, you are buying in an overvalued market, you're now paying a higher rate. So, as I mentioned, here in the Philly and the burbs, the homes are selling for a ridiculous amount of money. And the biggest concern with buying a home right now is that, for example, if you buy a house today for $700,000 and the market takes a turn downward, and the next year your home could be worth $500,000 or $600,000. But before you panic and think, my home, I'm going to go into foreclosure, don't worry. If you don't have to move and you have a job, you are still able to make that mortgage payment. And that's kind of happened back in 2008. So you just need to stay put for a while. It'll be fine. The housing market will always rebound. It's done over the years. We've seen dips in the housing markets, always goes back up, guys. All right. So buying real estate, it's a long-term investment. So if you're buying a home and you need to be in the house for at least 5 to 7 years in order to get some equity into the house to pay down the mortgage, and as the market rises, and then you're going to make money on it. Okay. So when you go to sell it. But if you're buying a home right now just to sell it in the next couple of years, that's not a great idea. Unless you're going to rent it out if you have to move. Buy something that you can rent out. Renting is, prices are really high. So I wouldn't do that if you're buying and you're going to sell. If you're buying, you may want to rent it out. That would be good. Another risk to consider if you buy a house with an 8% mortgage rate, if you want to refinance next year, the rates come down, the market takes a turn, and the value of your property goes down, that's going to be challenging for you to refinance because now your home is going to be worth less than what you owe. Just another reason why you might want to think twice before buying a home right now in 2024. Look, really, nobody can predict the real estate market. No one can predict the stock market. Everything is at risk right now. So you can do all the homework in the world. You can do all the research and look at all the data. We just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We could have a major economic crash tomorrow and things could blow up, but there's no reason to panic. If you have a job, you're able to make your mortgage payment, you will not have to sell your house. Like I said, just wait it out. Now, if you happen to lose your job and you can't make that payment, I would do what you can to stay in the house and work with your lender, do some type of forbearance, or you can go into some loan modification. There are ways around it, and we're pros at this one. We've been doing that before in the past markets. Now, There are many reasons why you may want to think twice, so you do not regret buying a home right now. So for those of you who are waiting, what do you do when you wait? Well, if you're renting, continue to rent. I know a lot of markets rents are coming down. Some are not. Some are more expensive than others. And they're getting very expensive. But if you can rent temporarily, I highly recommend doing that. Second thing is focus on paying down your debt. If you have credit cards, car loans, student loans, get rid of it or pay down as much as you can, because that's only going to benefit you for when you go to qualify for a loan. And it's also going to help you get a better interest rate. The better credit that you have, the less you'll pay in PMI. And the third thing is that you do is when you save your money, make your money work for you. There's some great securities. There's interest rates have great interest rates on the CDs right now. The money market's really great right now at 5% right now at Edwards Jones. So pile your savings away. Talk to a financial advisor, a financial planner. I'm not one of those. I'm not an expert, but I do know a lot about things. I'm not an expert in that field. I have experts I can refer you to. So find out what the best options are and make your money work for you. So right now, it's time to really build up your savings, and times are tough. I get it. Right now the economy is tough. Take this opportunity if you're going to be buying to go and try to save as much as you can, invest wisely to get the most for your money. Now, I'm sure you're shocked and be telling you this, that you may regret buying a home and to think twice before buying, but I really hope that this information helps you if you've been on the fence about buying this year. Thanks so much for watching me Making Real Estate Real. Diane Cardano Casaccio here. Please subscribe to my channel, guys. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. I'm giving out great information. Help a girl out. We'll see you on the next one.